and severed his carotid artery, his aorta, rather. And he goes tumbling back inside the track, and we're hollering, lieutenant's hollering. The lieutenant, like an idiot, and I'd been very concerned about this, on 2-6, is a black man by the name of, can't remember his name, Robinson. And he's sitting on top of a 20 millimeter ammo can, and he always carried 2 or 3 radios so he could listen to squadron and platoon and, so forth. And so he's got all these headphones hanging off his helmet, and he's got one in his ear, and he's got antennas all over the place. So naturally the enemy identifies him as the leader, and boy, they poured it on him. And he's still sitting, even though this combat's going on, he's sitting on top of the track, and he's got his headphone in one hand, and he's talking. And from the ground up, they unloaded automatic weapons fire on him and missed his head. I don't know how, but he's got that radio phone in his hand, and apparently he moved his hand right into the line of fire, and bullets just went peppering all up and down his arm, shattered his arm, something fierce. And he falls down at the bottom of the track, and his gunner says he looked at his hand and he goes, "I'll be damned, they shot my radio." And his arm was just shot to pieces. So anyway, the platoon sergeant starts coordinating everybody. He was an older guy, and he had a lot of experience in leading men, and he gets on the radio and he guides us back, and we boogie out of that village. Meanwhile, my friend Duckworth, who is our gunner, observer's got the M79 grenade launcher, and the enemy is coming out of these huts. They've been hiding in these huts. They were behind us, and they start rolling out, and they're coming at us with automatic fire. And Duckworth starts pumping M79 grenades on them and scattered them, and we got out of there. Well, we made it to a kind of a bamboo clearing where the bamboo was only about a foot high. And see, these Vietnamese people, they harvest that bamboo to make huts out of. So we made it off to this little clearing that was about half the size of a football field. And all around this thing was tall bamboo. I'm talking tall. This stuff was maybe 12, 14 feet tall. And we figured we'll rally around, we'll form what's called in armor lingo a lager, and we form up this lager to defend the perimeter and defend ourselves, and so helicopters can come down. We had 2 or 3 wounded guys and 1 dead, and we're going to get the helicopters in there to evacuate our wounded. No way. Boy, the enemy was there already, hidden in that tall bamboo, and boy, they lit us up. And we have to fight our way out of this. We went in one way, and we can't go through this bamboo because this stuff will tangle up our tracks, so we only got one way out. And fortunately, they hadn't blocked us in, and we go boogieing out of there, and we made it there. We made it to that highway, and there was a sawmill right there. And we get pulled up in the sawmill. I remember it because the sawdust was just blowing everywhere. Helicopters would come in, they were picking up the wounded, and these helicopters, these Hueys, and these big, huge, long blades. And those guys had set that helicopter right down, right next to these buildings and stuff. Those blades were missing the building by inches. I don't know how those kids did that. It's just a miracle of flying. But those medevacs would do anything to get the wounded. So anyway, I jumped down off my track, and we get the dead guy, and we're hauling him. I've got one arm, another guy, I think the track commander, his track commander had him by the other arm. No, Robinson had him by the other arm, using his good arm. Robinson's bleeding like a stuck pig out of his shot up arm, and he's helping carry this man to that helicopter. And then the track commander and another man had the man's feet. And away we went, we dumped him in that helicopter. Well, I maybe shouldn't tell you guys this, but maybe I'll cut it in I don't know. But it's the first time I found out that, because as we were carrying him, his pants came off. And he had this huge erection, and I was just, what happens, when you die, your blood pressure falls, and the way the penis works and all that, it winds up, most dead men wind up with an erection. Men have been killed quickly. And I was just horrified by the I don't know, it seemed so embarrassing, so indignant for death. You're so used to people dying on movies and TV and stuff, actors, and they all die with a sense of grace and usually. And here's this horrible indignity of this man died, and then here he is, we're putting him in this helicopter. And we're all just kids mostly, and we had never seen anything like that. And I remember being horribly embarrassed they say the most embarrassing thing you can do in life is to die. And I don't know what that really means, because if you're dead, you don't care. But I was embarrassed. And I shouldn't have been, but that's all I thought of at that moment. And the sawdust just blowing everywhere. Well, Robinson, he turns around, he's going to get back on the track. And I had to grab him, and I told him, I said, Lieutenant, you are shot up bad. You've got to get medical help right now. And he says, oh, I feel fine. And that's, of course, a sign of shock. The body's protected from that kind of pain. And Robinson was ready to go back in it. And I kind of turned him around. People in shock will pretty much do anything you really tell them to. And he turned around and got back in that helicopter. That's the last I ever saw him. But anyway, we're licking our wounds, and things are, at that moment, basically we got our asses kicked. And I felt bad about that, because we're 101st Airborne Division. We don't get our asses kicked. We don't quit. We're bad sons of bitches, and we had firepower up the ass. I mean, we had 7 light machine guns, and we had 7 heavy machine guns. And we were had our asses kicked by an enemy that never used an RPG on us, only light infantry weapons. But there was a shitload of them. So anyway, that's the story of the sawmill. And then my next video, I'll tell you the rest of this story, because this firefight lasted for like 6 days. This was one hell of a fight. And that was just the start of it. Anyway, that's all I've got for right now. Thank you.